Hey everybody, welcome back to Electric Cafe. Today's album review is on Alison Moyet's 1985 album, Alf. Um, Strange I couldn't find my record of it. I've been wanting to do an Alison Moyet album review, and then I couldn't find my vinyl record. The vinyl record, is that a double? Is that saying like yes, yes? What do they call that? A double intendum or something like that? Vinyl record. Um, But yeah, I couldn't find my copy anywhere. I don't know if I lost it or must be just misplaced. I would imagine. I can't imagine anybody would take a Alison Moyet record from me. That'd be pretty funny. I was like, if you really wanted it, I could just give it to you. I mean, it's not that it's it's not that important to steal a record. So I'm pretty sure nobody stole Alison Moyet record from me. But it's funny. I don't mean to like think that, but it's funny because I'm so meticulous about knowing where all my records are. Well, knowing that I have them. Let's put it that way. I mean, I think as I'm getting older in age, I did like a couple weeks ago. I couldn't find a certain record. I was like, I'm really surprised that's not with my other copies with the other records of that artist. And I was like, that is so strange. Somebody must have took it, because it is a valuable record. And I was like, that's so weird that it's not with it. And I was like, but I ended up finding it. Or not, and also did I leave it when I was out DJing or something? And I was like, oh, okay, did I play that record out or something like that? And so, I must be getting old in my old age, and getting old in my old age. There's another double one. Um, but yeah, just sometimes I feel like I accidentally want to blame not somebody specifically, but like somebody took the record, and I'm like, oh, okay, I misplaced it. That I feel dumb. Um, yeah, so that's definitely an age, a sign of I'm getting old. But yeah, let's get into her album, Alf, which was released in 1985. What was I gonna say about this? This is her first solo album. My older sisters were really into Alison Moyet, and back in the day, and my sister still is. She really likes them, and I've always kind of associated Alison Moyet with my one of my older sisters. It's definitely one of her favorites. But my oldest sister had probably upstairs in Eric, probably when the year it came out, and probably like 81, 82, like those two first Yazoo albums, which I have now. Um, Not the same copies, but um, surprisingly, because you think I would probably took that album at some time for my sister, but um, actually, you know what? It might be that copy. I'll have to review that album. And a lot of times, in the early '80s, late '70s, like uh, owners would always write their name on the record, and my older sister used to do that a lot. So you'd see her name on the record. So if it's on there, then that's hers. She did that with most of them. But yeah, Yazoo, as they were known, later. But originally it was Yaz. But they were like a fixture in the household. Like we played upstairs at Eric a lot, and as a You and Me Both, the second album was really good. That it's interesting. You know, if Vince Clarke and Alison Moyet would have kept on going with Yazoo, where it would have gone. But considering the direction of Alison Moyet, which she did with this album, you can see why maybe Vince Clarke necessarily wouldn't fit. Although he would fit in this album, he wouldn't necessarily fit in the years coming up for sure into the style that she more has of a, more elect more of a I guess adult, you know, more contemporary music than dance music or post disco like Erasure is, or electronic music in general. But so I can see why Vince Clarke could see that on the horizon, and I'm assuming it was probably a mutual split. But just an amazing Vince Clarke, left Depeche Mode, left Alison Moyet and was like, because he really truly felt that he wanted to do everything himself. And he was doing that Yazoo and still left Yazoo looking for a different kind of sound that would take his music to the direction he wanted to go. So you gotta commend him for, just being doing that after the success that immediately he had in Depeche Mode and with Yazoo. You know, uh, but Alison Moyet is just an amazing singer, underrated, in so many ways. Um, yeah, there's 9 tracks on here. First one is Love Resurrection. This is one of the. There are 3 singles on this album, if I'm not mistaken, with a fourth one in was released as a promo, but I don't think got fully released. It was Love Resurrection, Honey for the Bees, and Invisible. Uh, were all singles. I think All Cried Out was a single as well, so it could have been four if I'm not mistaken. But I think For You Only was sort of tried and then didn't end up getting put out for whatever reason. But yeah, forgive me if I don't know that, but I want to say like all of those were singles because I know they did remixes for All Cried Out, but I digress. But I know Love Resurrection and Invisible were singles. Maybe Honey for Bees wasn't a single. So yeah, looking back at Love Resurrection, just a very catchy song. It's kind of brilliant pop song. Keyboards, very good chorus, good music. Nothing. It's kind of a classic in some ways. I can't really fault anything about the track. I got 3.25 stars. Very good track for sure. Honey for the Bees. It kind of reminds me of like a Madonna song. It's kind of got like that kind of beat. Like it's a good beat. It's got keyboards are strong. The good verses. Chorus is still good, but it's not as good as some of the other choruses on here. But it's a good song though. I got 2.5 stars. For You Only is my favorite song on the album. Actually, it's one of her best ballads in my opinion. I really like the verses. The chorus is excellent. Very melodic. It's kind of Yazoo like. It reminds me of what was their song? I can't. That wasn't Midnight. It was on Upstairs, Eric. Is it For You Only? Um, God, I can't think of the track on that. Anyways, it reminds me of that track. Just amazing track. I mean, it's just. I'm surprised it wasn't a big hit. It didn't really like, especially considering Love Resurrection and Invisible got some play. Like For You Only should have been a huge hit. And then so I got 3.5 stars. Tied with that 3.5 stars is Invisible. Really strong track. Piano is great. Beat. Awesome chorus, melody. I would think like I was thinking while I was listening to it, I was like, I wonder if like Tina Turner sang that song, how big a hit it would have been. Like if somebody else had written that song and did that song because it's such a big song and such a powerful song. I wonder if like Whitney Houston or Tina Turner or somebody like that would sing this song. Um, if I was an up and coming like strong singer, I would cover that song and make it a hit. It's a great song. It's a great pop song. I have it tied with For You Only with 3.5 stars. Really strong song. Track 5 is my least favorite on the album. Steal Me Blind. It's not bad. Um, it's I have a note that's saying the snare is really rough. the most of this album has the same snare sound, and it's extremely loud. That's kind of there's a time I've said it before from like 1985 to like 88 where a lot of producers were, especially in rock music like Def Leppard or even electronic pop, like where the snare is like super loud and it's just like tsh, tsh, and it's just like and there's it's just like song after song after song at the end of this album has a loud snare. I mentioned it on track 5, 7, and 9, all having a like too much snare, too much snare. um, it's always that snare when you. I look at things very like when I look at music very engineered, as far as like the overall mix and where the certain sounds are in the mix and you know what's favored and what's maybe not recorded that well or what sounds different or unique or anything like that. And so much that I find that a lot of the middle 80s stuff, the snare is way too loud, and here's no exception. But yeah, 1 star for Still Me Blind. Just okay. All Cried Out. I don't like this track as much as maybe other people do. It's got a nice keyboard. The beat's solid. The chorus is a little too cabaret for me. I do like the music. I got a 2 star, but it's a good track. I'm critiquing it a little harsh, but I still think it's a good track. Money Mile, nice change of pace. Some good musical parts in this track for sure. I got 2.5 stars. That snare, man, the snare is super loud. Track number 8, Twisting the Knife, not bad. Some good background music going on. Can't really fault anything on it or say anything's great on it. I think it's a good track, 2 stars. And then the last track, I really like the last track, Where Hides Sleep. This direction I like. It's a little bit more atmospheric. Yeah, the creative changes in the song are unique, and those are cool. And I like the music in it a lot. Question mark, more snare. So this track is bitten by the snare bug also. So when I look at the overall of the album, Allison has an amazing voice. A great balance of soul and danceability. Like she can do really well on a dance track. She can sing a ballad really well, and those are kind of the extremes. I feel like in the middle, she grew over the years into other albums, sort of singing in the middle, where they're not necessarily a dance or a ballad song, but a little bit more in the middle. She got better at that as her career went on. But in this particular time, I think she's best at singing either a dance song or a ballad, and that's what most of these songs are. Most of these songs are dance songs. Um, in a perfect world, I think she would have been as big as Madonna. You know, I know she had some weight issues, and I feel like that. Once the American media can be really hard on people with their looks, and I really honestly feel that they didn't play her music once they knew how, once they saw how big she was, and it was in the Invisible video. I mean, that song should have been a top 10 hit. I mean, it's an amazing song, but I feel like they didn't play it because she wasn't the ideal looking American female pop singer. I really feel that had to be it, because there's no other reason why they wouldn't play her. I mean, it's a great song. It's catchy. It has all the marks of a 1985 hit. But just they didn't play her music. You know. Sure. I mean, sure. This album, the next album, she probably had 3 or 4 top 40 songs, but they didn't. They should have done better. Another one was "Weak in the Presence of Beauty." I mean, that should have been that was a little deeper, but maybe not as straightforward, popular as pop sounding as Invisible, or Love Resurrection, but it should have, that one should have been a hit as well. For You Only should have been a hit. I mean, that's a great track. You know, bet you if they gave that song to somebody like Phil Collins, he would have made it a hit in 1985. Some classic tracks on here for sure. Love Resurrection, Invisible, For Your Eyes Only, some good secondary songs, and All Cried Out, Honey for the Bees, Money Mile, Where Hides Sleep. Some good songs. Good overall balance of electronic music, pop, dance music. Definitely a good song. I mean, definitely a good album. A balanced album too. I got 8 of the 9 tracks above good. You know, only one song that I thought was okay. As far as the overall opportunities for the album, nothing sticks out, nothing alarming, except for the snare. A few okay songs, or actually just really one okay song. Um, you know, I tend to like when good singers just sing and don't try to overdo it, and she doesn't for the most part. But there is a little bit in here where where I feel like she does kind of sing a little bit outside of her range, but maybe just I don't know. It's just I feel like Honey for the Bees. I feel like there's maybe some of the directions of songs maybe could have been a little bit different for her particular voice. And I'm not saying that's a fact on any of these songs. I'm just saying, is that a possibility? Would somebody think that if they heard this album? You know, because I don't feel like she overdoes it on any song, but I do feel like she tried to emphasize certain songs where maybe um, I wouldn't say that she's trying to make sure that she has a hit, but sort of the songs at the end, maybe she's trying a little bit too hard. You know, and you know, I feel like she kind of has some better pockets, and that's just a small critique. But um, I think sometimes on the opportunities section, I put obviously some things that are opportunities, and then I try to put some things in there that maybe somebody else might think, or maybe question, or maybe a different direction, or just kind of throw a question out there. Does somebody else think that? By putting that in there, you know, like me, if I think there might be a possibility of that, maybe somebody else thinks that it's for sure. You know, I don't know, but there's definitely a lot of snare in there. I put that in there. That's that one. I'm sure everybody can agree on. So overall, the stars on the tracks, I add them up. It's 22 and 3/4 stars divided by 9 tracks, so 2.52, which kind of I think that correlates pretty well to the overall score that I gave. I gave it a 62 out of 100. So good album, no doubt. Um, you know, I can't really say anything as alarming opportunities, and there's a lot of good songs on here, and a lot of good singles. You know, it's a concise, good, enjoyable, very melodic and danceable album. There's a lot of good dance songs on here. Um, Kind of an overlooked album, you know, in probably the history of 80s music. You know, she had a really strong career those first 2 albums. I think it was Rain Dancing was the second album, and there's a lot of good songs on that album too, and I'll probably review that next. All right, thanks so much for watching this review on Alf by Alison Moyet. 62 out of 100. Great singer.